Jack Dappa Blues Heritage Preservation Foundation is a tax-exempt 501c3 nonprofit private foundation. Your donations, sponsoring, and funding allows us to create content that raises awareness of African American traditional music, African American folklore, and the Black experience. Check the link in the description box to donate. If you wish to sponsor podcasts, documentary series, or underwrite ads in our upcoming newspaper, The African American Folklorist, launching February 5th, 2020, contact the email address in the description box.
Is knowing that we have to see diversity first before we can actually understand ourselves. I grew up, loving nature, and I love seeing things regarding taxonomy and, classifications and how biodiversity is how human beings were born. We were born into a diverse world where different species had diverse varieties, within each group. And when I think about Blackness, I think the same thing applies. What I think about when it comes to folklore is that in order for us to understand the Black experience, we have to understand the diversities of experiences within Black culture. Black is not an ethnic group, it is an expression of experience. And so when I hear people, whether you had African ancestors who intermingled and had children with people, indigenous tribes here, whether you were, African American in the sense of having two African tribal elders come together and survive in this American context, or whether you were Afro-Caribbean, like it was with the Gullah Geechee, in Charleston, South Carolina, or Savannah. The fact is that you had to deal with survival because of your skin tone, because of how you looked. You had a Black experience in the U.S. And knowing that and how different people cope is a part of how we can honor what it means to be Black and beautiful in so many varieties. I think that American folklore has opened up doors in many places for people to understand how Blackness shifted. Being Black in the South, very depending on the region. If you were in Florida, you had a different experience than somebody in Baton Rouge, or somebody in Texas, or somebody in Milwaukee. If you were older or you're younger, you had different experience as well. And part of how we can honor the Black experience is knowing how that diversity looks practically. I also think that it's a problem when we say we want to celebrate Blackness in American folklore, and we don't actually take time to realize those nuances. We don't take time to understand, as I was told, that not everyone Black has your back. Not everyone who's brown is down. And the reality is that, people of African descent were nuanced. There are people that did, unfortunately, join in the plantation system, and they would not help people find freedom. There were others that chose to resist in subtle ways, like breaking equipment. There were others that were much more active, like Harriet Tubman, sneaking people out. And then there were those that were vilified, but did whatever it took to ensure that people survived, like Nat Turner, or Gabriel with slave rebellions. There were so many varieties of African American experience and Black experience in American tradition. I think that's part of how we can go forward, though. We can't be ashamed of our different experiences. We have to see them for what they are.